We are loud, obnoxious, and completely inappropriate. Viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Coffee Mug Show. This is episode 19, recorded live on April 29th, 2019. My name is Leonard. I am joined by three of my lovely co-hosts, Derek, Mark, and Chad. Hello, boys.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, guys. I just want to apologize, actually, to you guys actually been waiting for us to go back on air. For the past 3 weeks, everyone's actually just been sick. So yeah, everyone started. I know you're the only one that are not sick, so we decided to just take it easy, put our feet up, and just recover. So now we're back. So before we begin, if you guys are watching us live on YouTube and Twitch, our chat rooms are open. So please join us in our conversation. So we actually have a very good, amazing topics for the first topics. Yeah. We'll start with something simple here. I think this is the most simplest first topic, right? So, okay. I'm not sure if you guys remember a few episodes ago we were talking about the Samsung Fold, how it should be we can't wait to see it because it's like the future of cell phones, mobile phones, right? So now Samsung is actually having issues with their phones. And it's actually officially failing. So, just a couple of days after the journalists got their hands on the Galaxy Fold demo unit for the first time, the review unit for the first time, they start getting difficult failure issues throughout
with the screen.
With the screen itself, yeah. So, for the at least for the 4 different devices, has major screen issues that has requested full replacement of the device. This is the working phone that they're practically releasing into the public. So for all the information that we've seen that's available out there, there are 2 distinct issues that's plaguing this phone. The first issue is the screen plastic covering that looks like it's a screen protector from the manufacturer. So this plastic itself is actually on top of the OLED display panel that allows the assembly to be very flexible and has this sort of a protection thing. The problem is this layer of plastic looks like a plastic you get when you buy a brand new phone. So typically, like a normal user, you take out that plastic, right? But as soon as you remove the plastic, the phone screen starts failing. In some instances, that some of the reviewers did not even remove the plastic itself, but next thing you know, it started peeling off and start failing the screen. So that's one major issue. The second issue is the screen itself does not have a protective glass on it, right? So there's actually a comment, a release from Corningware, the people who made the Gorilla Glass. They said that they are working on a flexible glass to protect folding phones, but that's not going to be happening in the next couple of years. So
there's a third issue, though, really, because based on what you framed it as, Leonard, the third one would be the natural peeling of it as well.
Yes, that's the natural peeling of the plastic itself. So to fix this issue, Samsung decided to put another film on top of the film, and saying, "Do not take out the film." So, guys, okay, I know this is a big issue for Samsung. This is really crappy for them because I was rooting for this phone to succeed. Okay, so for them taking this out of the market and say we're delaying this for
they're not taking it out. They're delaying
it. They're officially delaying it.
Yes,
they're delaying it, but
recalling the review units. The review units from the people who were reviewing it. So luckily they caught it with the reviewed units.
Yeah.
Right. So, and they're gonna try to fix that issue.
Yeah, but right now, how it stands, they're not gonna release it to the public until this issue's been resolved.
Which is great because now it's like they caught it before it was released.
Yeah.
Imagine the fact that they released it and 2 million phones were sold on the first day.
So you think
2 million phones?
You think they're actually trying to resolve this faster compared to what they had issues with S9? Is it S9? The exploding battery?
You mean
the S7 Note? The Note 7 Note, the Note
exploding
7
battery, yeah.
Okay,
issue.
the whole okay, here's the thing. The exploding battery issue, they had to figure out where it was coming from, and it came from the actual battery manufacturer.
Yeah.
That's where the issue was. So for them to determine how to find, like, they had to investigate, and any investigation can take months, right? To determine what actually caused the actual issues, why these batteries are actually exploding, right?
Yeah.
Here we got review units. These films are coming off. People weren't told, hey, don't remove the film. People were removing it, right? Because, what's this? What's this film on the phone? Let me take it off. Once they take it off, their phone goes, the phone goes cuckoo. So the fact that these review units are the ones that they're recalling, and they're going to delay the launch to see to rectify this issue, it's great on them. Yes, they may lose out. They're going to lose a lot of money on this issue, but imagine the fact that if the phone was actually fully released, and 200, and you had millions of phones out there doing this, how much more money would they have lost?
Oh,
yeah, but here's the thing, and there's a couple problems with what they've done here. Firstly, a phone like this, you expect that it would have problems. However, the problems they have, they shouldn't have. And the simple reason is that if you know as a manufacturer that this is not a peel film, and you know what the first thing is every customer does, you slap a sticker on that. That's my first objection, that it was an easy, simple thing that they did. It implies to me that they rushed this out. They just wanted to get it to market, the first people to do it before anyone else got to it. The second problem I have is any kind of even generic testing would have found that there's an issue with the screen. For example, people peeling back the screen and it failing and so forth is understandable. We think it's a film, we peel it off, it damages the screen, fine. But there's a subsection of reviewers that actually didn't peel it off, and they found naturally after a couple of days the screen started to peel back without them interfering in any way with the phone or damaging it or dropping it. It just naturally started to peel. That to me is a huge issue. So if most companies give these phones out to a couple employees to play around with, to test it out, whatever. And the fact that this wasn't caught in the development stage is astonishing to me. Okay, absolutely astonishing.
Again, here's the thing. LG released a new monitor. I believe it's the 34950K. It's a 34-inch, brand new. They have their nano IPC. I forgot the letters.
Forget the name. What's the problem?
Well, they sent out review models to a few people. Well, guess what? From the 4 people that I watched doing the review, 3 of them were fine with this. Were fine with their monitor, but one of their monitors from one of the other reviews was totally shot. It was just a broken monitor, right? It loaded up you can plug it in and everything seems to be working fine, but then you drag one of the windows across the screen and you see all this distortion and everything like that. At first you thought it was the video card, drivers or whatnot, but it was actually the monitor. So again, you're taking a look at how many phones that they released for review, and from those phones, what is the percentage actually of them failed without people peeling off the actual screen.
Okay, with that said though, Marc M, he's a tech reporter. He has a Galaxy Fold. He was very careful about it. Like he was mentioning that he's very, very careful about the phone. He was taking care of it. The phone actually, the protected film stayed intact, but the problem he has is the phone, the whole thing, from left to right, when you unfold it, the OLED started failing slowly for 2 days straight.
And that's the thing. So again, we're talking about review units here.
Okay, Mark,
right?
you can't.
Okay, this
Those
is why.
cannot use that excuse because
No,
we're talking
I'm
about
just saying.
a manufacturer here is trying to show off their brand new technology.
That's right.
Giving a review unit. This review unit has to be a working model. This is not a beta unit
This is
here.
the test. This is not whatever. And the
I
other
understand.
fact
No,
is-
I understand. I understand that. So all these things are failing now, and this is what I'm saying. These are review units that they sent out. So they haven't released the phone. They found out there's a failure on it, and now they're going to try to fix it.
Yeah, but
So-
again, you're leaning back on this argument. These are reviewer phones. That doesn't make any sense. Like I
No.
said to you before, if there was even the most basic testing done by them, they would have caught this issue.
Yeah,
Now,
I agree.
assumably, as you would say, there's an average number of phones that will just naturally fail. But based on the last numbers that I saw, there was over 700 phones that had failed by these reviewers. And let's assume for the moment, that you sent it out to 10,000 reviewers, and I don't even know, right? That would be approximately a 1 in 10 fail rate, right? If it's less than that, then the rate is going to skyrocket, right? I mean, they're probably going to send it out to YouTubers and so forth and all that kind of stuff, right? And I don't know, some of these people may pay for it. Again, they're presenting this as a premium phone. This is $2,000.
I understand, and I don't argue with the fact. But the fact is, it's all caught. Now they're going to delay the launch of the phone, and they're going to try to fix this issue. It's different if they found that there's this issue with the phones, but yet they continue to launch it.
But
So-
what's the excuse, though, for the phones failing in the first place? Because some of these people, I believe, probably paid for this phone. Now, admittedly, I'm going to be fair here. Samsung is replacing the phones. It's not a question of them being a bad business and not replacing it.
Mhm.
My question is coming about them rushing a product to launch that clearly they weren't
Not
ready to
ready.
launch.
Okay, and then again, like with any something new or innovative, okay, here's the thing. Perfect example, NVIDIA launching out the RTX video cards. Okay, it's supposed to be the newest and greatest things to get this whole RTX thing. But guess what? 6 months after the cards are launched, the first game, like a few months after the cards were launched, the first game to use this RTX technology just comes out. And it was hyped up that we were supposed to get everything, all of this, and everybody was disappointed. Everybody's like, okay, what's NVIDIA doing? Okay, so NVIDIA has the market share in video. That's why they can sell out, sell these video cards that aren't utilizing the RTX technology, and the actual performance of these cards are not what we were expecting.
But what you're talking about is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that not a software developer not utilizing the benefits of the card, not the manufacturer?
No, it's they're both coinciding, because these cards, like the development, these cards are actually being set out. So when NVIDIA set out to launch these cards, they're saying, okay, once these cards are out, you're going to be able to use this game, this game, this game, and this game will all utilize RTX. So here comes around the developers, Battlefield 5. Everybody's disappointed with Battlefield 5 because Battlefield 5, when they were supposed to be released, it's supposed to have had all of these features. But it took months to get the whole game out and using the RTX. So in any business, what I'm trying to say, like in any business format, when you're making cars, new cars or whatnot, they're going to build something, they're going to send it out. Now, whatever their testing is in their beta testing, guess what? Again, when you test something, a certain department will test one feature of the phone or one feature of everything. It's not, they don't concentrate on 5 or how many people to test everything, just out the whole phone all at once. You got different teams testing the phone with different types of things to get everything working and to see if everything will pass. And that's how it is with everything.
Okay, sorry. With that said, though, the biggest the best feature of this phone is the screen that folds. So for them to not testing I don't know, to be honest with you.
Okay,
hold on.
You want to test the screens. Okay, so you're talking about the OLED screens themselves and failing. And
okay, no, we're talking about
okay.
The whole system is failing. The whole, from the folding itself to how they're protecting it and how they're actually putting it into the phone itself.
Let's be fair to the protection thing, because it's a close. Perhaps that could be a thing, but let's just assume for the moment that's not an issue, just for argument's sake, all right? And the reason I'm saying that is the issue is the screen failing on a consistent basis, not a one-off, but a very consistent basis here, right?
Yeah, they gave 5 review. Let's say if 5 phones failed in the first 2 days of the units being released to the reviewers, that's an issue. If it's one phone dies in 10 reviews in a month, that's nothing. We're talking about the first 2 days. Go ahead, Chad.
I agree with Mark. I'd rather have them fail in the review cycle than have them review when they're all released to the public.
But that puts the onus on us as the consumer to fix the product. Like,
no,
come on.
You can't use that as an excuse. Issue now,
so
no, they can't use the excuse that we're sending this units to the reviewers and hopefully they find out the issues with it. The review units are supposed to be a working unit for them to test it so they can do a full review on it.
So it is a working unit, but it failed.
Yes, that's what we're saying.
Okay, so but these like the units that are being sent out they're supposed to be the production models that were sent out. Guess what? Those failed. So they actually found out that there's something wrong and it failed to be reviewed. So because they failed doesn't mean that they're not working units. These are production units that are saying they just failed. It's like you buying a production car. You buy it, it's a lemon. What do you do? Like
I see. So
okay, first production run is all failed.
Man, it's like a car, and it's on me now. I see.
No. I didn't say it's on you. That's why.
That sounds like though.
But I'm just saying the way that you're saying that they're not sending out working units. These are working units, but they failed.
Yeah, they're failing unit that's been sent out.
Okay, so they're not. Let's make sure what you're saying then. What you're saying. They're not working units.
They're working units, but failed.
But they failed. They may have worked. Okay, so you buy a phone. Okay, you buy a Samsung phone. Let's say an S7, an S8, or the Note 7. Let's go back with the Note 7 because that's their other failure rate. When they leave the factory, they are in working order, right? They ship them. The pocket is working order. You get a phone. Guess what? It blows up. What was wrong with it? We all found out it was a battery's failure. So when they leave, again, they leave the factory, they do test them, they turn them on, the 2 5-minute whatever test, okay, the phone turns on, battery's charging, blah, 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 let's put it in the box, let's ship it out. So they're working it, and then they failed. I would have an issue with them if they said, okay, well, you know what, we're going to release the phone anyway, we're not going to look at this issue and whatnot. So, yeah, everybody was excited to get these phones, they're failing. And there's something wrong with it, and now they're catching it before the release date. And that's it.
Okay.
How many other pieces of technology that we've seen throughout the years have gone through the same thing? They go in, they're starting to throw, they start shipping them out. There's a big, massive failure rate. They take them off and they recall the whole product.
Okay, just curiosity. Let's step back here for a second. What's the chat saying? Just because I haven't heard. We've been really into
so
this.
I was about to post
anything yet about this. Passionate. We're like into this here.
Okay, I'm actually gonna ask the chat room this question. A very simple question. Would you still buy the Samsung Galaxy for knowing all the issues that's being sent out? So I'm gonna ask. It's a very simple question,
yeah, but
right?
It is a simple question, but the fact is, you're not giving them time to fix it now. Don't forget, they delayed the launch. They're not.
That's fine if they delay it, because according to Samsung, their testing procedure is supposed to be 20,000 folds and unfolds. That's based on their testing, right? If manufacturers is supposed to test randomly in all the phones, when they're part of their lines, when they're building it, they pick whichever phone randomly and do this test, right? So the same thing for beverage, you do the test randomly, right? It's quality control, right? So if that's the case, if they do have quality control to test all these phones that are coming out from the line, and they actually, now I'm questioning their quality control on this.
I think that's where I was going with it, Mark. I'm not disagreeing with your argument, Mark. I'm saying that they rushed this out the door. They didn't care, and they just thought, well, a couple may fail, but we really know it's not up to par, and they just sent it out the door. With the battery thing, that was an unknown issue that was really hard for them to test for, right?
But here's the thing, though. You're saying that they knew. So your conjecture is that they knew that these phones were faulty.
Admittedly, I'm putting myself in the position of, and the reason I'm putting myself in that position is there were so simple solutions here or simple things that the company could figure out very easily that a guy reviewing it for 5 minutes figured out that, if their process is so weak that they can't put a sticker on a thing and, correct for an error. So say they fold the phone 20,000 times.
Okay, but here's the thing. One thing, for example, we don't know. Okay, from what I know, and from what I've seen, when reviewers receive a review unit sent to them, okay, there is a pack. They have a media package, and all of that media package has everything that they need to know about the phone. What the embargo dates, handling of the phones, and everything like that. It's actually all written out. So let's say there's nothing like everybody like the whole thing again about the peeling of the thing. Everybody say, "Oh, we didn't know we didn't have to peel that." Okay, maybe that was on Samsung's part. That they may not have told people not to peel it off, but when again review units themselves, like we just have to make sure that we don't know what the mindset of Samsung was. We don't know if they were aware of these issues before they sent out these units or not. And honestly, they would rather not have them send out these review units with these issues, because all these people are, the people that are reviewing them are the people that they need to say, yes, go buy this phone. Because if these guys don't like these phones and there are all these failures, remember, this is their advertising now.
Yeah.
So let's make sure that, Samsung's not going to send it out knowing that it's a failure, because they're gonna lose a lot more on their reputation and on them.
I think that my issue comes up, as I said, with what appears to be, and it's an assumption here, a very simple lack of any basic process in place for quality control. And that's where my true issue, not the fact that I don't believe they're going to go back and look at this and so forth. Now, I made an assumption saying that some executive basically said, I want to be the first, ship them out, we'll fix it later, which I think is a very likely scenario.
Yeah, it's called their stock. They're investors. Well,
what do you mean? There's talk of from the investors?
Yeah, investors usually tells them, okay, we're making this product. Usually the investor says, okay, release it, right? We're gonna make this money. We'll be the first one. So they're pleasing their investors. If I'm the investors, they have to please me, right? So
okay, yeah.
Right?
So the investors. Okay, so let's take a look at this, and let's take a look at it as a company standpoint. Okay, and I'm gonna use one of these reviewers one of these tech reviewers that they sent the phone out to. They sent one out to Marquise Brownlee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this guy has 3.2 million followers on his Twitter account.
He's actually a very good reviewer, by the way. He's actually really, really good.
Okay, so you know who he is. Do you think the investors and the head table there of Samsung are gonna say, okay, look, these phones aren't really working, whatever, let's just put them out. But we'll send it to Marquis Brownlee, who has 3.2 million followers. Let's send one to to Linus, himself, who has over 8 million followers. That's 11 million people. That's 11 million people. Okay, take a look at it from a business standpoint. You run a business. Do you want to send a faulty phone that you knew was not working, and you're going to rush it out the door and say, okay, we're going to give it to these guys to review, and have 11 million people already know that these phones don't work because these guys are saying, oh, don't buy it because these things are thing in Samsung.
If you're part of a large organization, right, and especially a very large organization, Samsung would definitely fall under a large organization. the questions that are usually asked in those types of organizations are not really the driving forces are about money, and they're about productivity. They're not about the customer. They could care anything less about the customer.
okay.
What they don't want, though, is they don't like it to them. Having a negative comment is a bad thing, but these reviewers, it really doesn't matter to them. I mean, it does matter to a point, but really, what's going to be more matterful is it going to impact the sales quotas? So you have to understand the mentality of larger corporations and the kind of conversations that happen in them, right? Because as Leonard says, investors. Well, not that the CEO, whoever it is of Samsung, he would be pressured by investors to do something. Now, he, might have his tech guys come to him and say, hey, we've done some testing, we found a few flaws, there might be an issue here, but we think that it can be managed. The CEO would go, okay, so out of how many units do you think will fail? And if they say 5%, he'd be like, okay, I'll take the risk and just send it out now, right? Now, admittedly, this might be higher than whatever percentage, but I'm not speaking in the terms of customer service or even the customer. In large organizations, the customer matters very little. Right?
I understand, and I agree with you. However, we also have to take a look at Samsung's history.
Do you mean the battery? Or?
Yes, they don't want another Note 7 issue. You know how much billions of dollars that they lost, like the investors lost on this? And that's the one. Then that's the thing that you have to take into effect. The Note 7 was how many years ago? It was just a couple, 2 or 3 years ago that this issue happened. They don't want another Note 7 issue.
Oh, and I agree with you. But I guess my point to you is that I believe they pushed it out the door early. I believe that, and I agree. I actually am very happy with how Samsung will live up and actually fix things for the customer. I'm happy with that process. I mean, it sounds funny. I am a huge Samsung fan, and I'm arguing the company here. But a bunch of things I have are Samsung because I love the company. And so seeing something like this happen, when Leonard asked me, Derek, do you want the first phone? I said, absolutely not. Because I knew something like this was going to happen because they wanted to be first to market. Now they are first to market. Great, wonderful. They have that in their bucket. We were first to market. When they actually do release it, they'll be like, we were first to market. So it'll be like a, hey, we were guys, right? Kind of idea.
So why did they rush the release?
Well,
to be first to market, man.
First one to market. Like
what other phones are?
When is Huawei coming out?
Huawei is supposedly coming out, I think next month. But now everyone's questioning how they're doing how they actually protecting the screen and the fold. Remember a few episodes ago we talked about the line in the middle of the fold. All the reviewers actually during the press conference notices that line, and they actually admitted, Samsung did admit it, there's actually a line there, right? When Huawei released their press release a few weeks after, no one's reporting there's a line. So I think Samsung's trying to do a catch up to release their phones first, so they can say we were the first in the market, like what Derek said. Again, like, to be honest with you guys, I'm a big firm believer of this phone. This is the next wave of phone. I am
too, right?
I was rooting for this phone.
Going back to just some failure rates here. I mean, the iPhone 6 failure rate was 22%.
Oh yeah, it was high. Yeah.
Right. So
I sat on mine.
Well, that's not a failure. Yeah, that's
a failure on my ass, man.
That's a catastrophic.
The issue was between the chair and
the damn bar stool. Yeah. So the chat room actually, Gordon to the third actually said no way that this person's not gonna buy this phone. Like, I don't blame him.
I am. If I had the cash, I would.
Yeah. But
just because.
But here's a question: after seeing everything you've seen about this, you're gonna plop down $2,000.
US $2,000 US for this.
If I had the money, if I had the money, and money was no issue, then yeah.
So you will never unfold this phone ever again.
Fair, if money was no issue, I'd have the phone. To be fair to that.
Okay, here's the thing. If money was no issue, I would build myself a fully decked up machine that's going to be almost $15,000 gaming machine. Okay. So we're talking about 2 video cards. Like 2 video cards would be already like $4,000. So you
Yeah.
you know, I'm that type. Yeah, if I had the money, there's no issue. I go buy it, right? So
The only thing right now that's actually kind of weird about this conversation is Chad hasn't spoken a single word. Couple of
No, that's
things.
not fair. He spoke a
He said
couple.
something. So
Fine.
Chad, I'm
he
actually,
agreed. No, Chad.
Chad agrees.
Whatever Chad said, he agreed with me. So that's fine. Like, he had all you have to say. He agreed.
Oh, okay.
So,
I don't need a folding feature for my phone.
Well, if this is the way of the future, you're gonna have one no matter what. Well, theoretically, you did have a folding phone before.
I had a flip phone.
Flip phone, nice.
everybody
So it is
had a
folding
flip phone.
There you go. So okay.
I still have a pouch for my phone.
Oh Jesus.
You know what? Hold on. You guys you're talking about that stuff. Hold on.
Alright, so while we're waiting for Mark, so chat room, if you guys are still there, you're listening to us yapping about this thing, we haven't forgot about you guys, because no one's really talking, so that's why we haven't really said anything. But I gotta do a question for all of you guys. Okay, we'll start with Chad because Chad is the quiet one.
You mean like one of these?
Yes. So the question I have for you guys is I know you guys are not gonna buy the first gen because the first gen is a flop. No pun intended.
What?
The first gen is a flop. This is first gen. It's a flop. It's what it is. It's
I beat you, Mark.
okay.
Well, think about it.
Hold on, let me finish my question here. Hold on.
6th gen iPhone. It was a flop.
Yeah, I know.
20.
Still a flop. Well,
Or you mean a flip?
flip.
You guys remember this?
Samsung 8 is a flip. Yeah.
Hey guys.
Oh,
You guys
pages.
remember these
Jesus
things?
Christ. You're definitely aging yourself now, buddy.
Yeah. Or how about this one?
Oh, wow. I still have my
Yeah, I
Nokia
had
6190. You still have that one. Would you guys willing to buy this phone 2nd gen? And just skip the
I don't
first
know.
gen?
I don't know. It would really depend. Like, for example, my gripe with the phone actually has nothing to do with the screen. I mean, I have objections with what's going on with it. My objection is so many cameras in the thing. It takes up so much space in the phone. It adds so much weight that I don't think it needs to have that many cameras. It has what, 6 in it? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, as a photographer,
well,
I don't really mind, so.
I buy the generation that I can afford.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I would buy the generation that I can afford.
Well, typically Samsung is usually the cheapest one anyway.
Are you actually trying to make it work?
What?
Your BlackBerry.
Your BlackBerry.
Oh no, I'm trying to pop it open to get the battery out. To see if that's
Okay, so we'll just put this in the rest because I think it's time for us to talk about something that's near and dear to our hearts. So
Put a disclaimer out here, by the way. There should be a disclaimer.
yeah, I'm getting there. Relax.
spoilers ahead.
So if you, Jesus, hold on. Let me go through this thing here. Let me do the proper intro. Now I lost my train of thought. So we're going to be talking about something that's been we've been following for the past like God knows how long.
11
Is
years.
this- 11
the
years?
independent
11
movie
years,
that's come out?
22 movies.
Yeah. So
A small independent movie.
yes, this little tiny small independent movie came from a graphic novel that no one knows about. So so all 4 of us finally saw the Avengers.
You guys finally saw it, okay?
Oh, whatever,
I watched it
whatever.
at 5 p.m. the 25th, okay?
That's what I'm
What-
saying.
what-
Everyone finally saw it this weekend. That's what I'm getting at. So everyone finally saw it this weekend the Avengers Endgame. Okay. The only thing I have in my script here is just talk about Avengers. That's all I have in my scripts. So
Fine.
okay,
Spoilers.
okay, now we're gonna do the spoilers thing. If you guys are actually watching this is a massive spoiler alert. Because it is it's pretty big. So yeah, so
Ant-Man big. It's Ant-Man big.
it's Ant-Man big. Yeah, so we'll start with something a very very simple question. Raise your hands if you guys like the movie.
Oh, I did.
Come on.
Raise
You
your hands,
bastard.
God
Like,
damn it.
why do we want to waste our heads? Like, okay, here.
Okay,
My
Chad, we'll start with you, then Mark, then Derek, then myself.
Why am I second?
Yeah, we'll start with Chad because Chad is actually being the nicest one and actually being very quiet. So
Mark has to go get the stuff he got from his movie.
yes, yes, you're right. Yeah, all the tricks
None of us saw that stuff.
So while Mark's doing that, so Chad, what do you think about the movie?
It was the end of Phase 3.
No, it wasn't.
Phase
Hold
4 is
on,
coming
Mark.
up.
Let me finish. Go ahead.
Isn't Phase 4 next?
No. The new Spider-Man movie is the last movie of Phase 3.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So go ahead.
There was some surprises. It wasn't. It didn't feel like it was 3 hours.
No.
It was over before I thought it was going to be over. So, along with the spoilers, I was glad to see everybody who came back come back the way they did. That was epic. They cut off Thanos' arm, which really happens. In the end,
Super speechless.
in the end, when Captain America hands over his shield to Falcon, pretty much making Falcon the new Captain America. They're up to date now in the books because Falcon is Captain America.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So that
Captain
was-
America.
okay.
Well, I was hoping. Well, go ahead, guys. You guys go first.
Oh no,
Chad?
you're second.
You're
I'm
second,
last.
dude. We're still.
Why are you
waiting-
last?
We're still
Why are
waiting
you
for to
last?
bring your trinkets with you that you sent us a photo of.
I knew they were going to do Professor Hulk. I was worried how. And
Yeah.
I was very impressed. And I didn't expect it. I don't know who would. But Fat Thor was awesome.
That part was awesome. That's
Actually-
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Sorry guys, hold on guys. I just want to give you guys an update here. If you guys are watching us live in YouTube, we are having issues with stream. Looks like there's issue in YouTube side regarding getting our stream. So if you guys want to switch to Twitch, we're getting full bandwidth there. So I do apologize to people who's watching us in YouTube. Go ahead, Mark or Chad.
Chad, go ahead.
So I would give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Oh,
Wow,
why?
that was
Whoa,
pretty
hold on,
low
hold on.
there,
We
dude.
want to hear about this. Why?
Wow.
Why?
I did not expect that from
I
you,
know,
Chad.
same here. Actually, surprisingly, Michelle, my partner, actually scored it the same way. But Chad, I want to hear from you.
Wow.
I didn't expect everybody to come back and still be standing.
Because of the ending.
I thought it would be more like Game of Thrones.
Oh, see, that's where you made your mistake. That's where you made your mistake. Okay. That is where you made your mistake. First and foremost. You can't compare this to any other. You can't compare Marvel to Game of Thrones. You can't compare DC and the MCU. You can't compare any because everybody has their own. You can't compare this like you can't compare Game of Thrones to Harry Potter, or the Lord of the Rings. Because are you done? Sorry.
Well, the only other point I have to make is Miss Marvel is top 5 strength, and she didn't do a whole lot. She destroyed a ship, and that was it. So I was a bit disappointed.
No, she was a
with that.
boss and took a headbutt from Thanos and didn't even phase her. I give her cred for that.
Okay.
She could have
Here's-
done more.
Okay. Well, she could have. Okay, here. Let's see. With Captain Marvel, we got to remember that she was in a completely different universe prior to that battle starting.
Universe?
Yeah, well,
Or
not a universe.
galaxy?
She was in a
Or
completely different galaxy. Don't forget, after the 5-year time jump, and we had Black Widow talking to Captain Marvel, Rhodey,
Yeah, it was 5 years after. Right?
Rocket, and all those guys. Don't forget, she was somewhere else. She was not even on Earth. She was not even in the same galaxy. She was out. They were looking for, helping out. She was helping out people. Don't forget.
Fury has one hell of a beeper, man.
I know.
She remember what she said in the beginning of the movie. There's a lot of worlds out there that does not have the Avengers. So she went out. So when this whole thing was happening, and them getting it, of course, it's gonna take her time to get back, and that's where the climax was. Okay, she comes back exactly at the time, as the big battle.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Right? So she had to travel. Don't forget, she had to travel the whole universe. Like, I think.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I do need correction on this, perhaps. Did she not, after she was in the meeting with the guys, they were planning out the stuff, she goes off to get Iron Man or whatever, and comes back
Okay.
with them, and then where the heck was she?
Don't forget the time. Okay, here's the thing. You got to go back to the Captain Marvel movie. Captain Marvel movie, that end scene happened a few days to at least a week after Nick Fury hit the pager. Okay, you got to give that time frame. The time frame that she goes.
Say that again. Sorry, say that again.
Okay, so the end credit scenes, like the post credit scenes of Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
You see her come in. You see they're all in the Avengers headquarters.
Yeah.
All of a sudden she comes in. Where's Nick Fury? Don't forget, that pager was in the middle of New York City or wherever Nick Fury was.
5 years before.
5 years before. Like, this is right after the snap.
Yeah.
When Fury activated that pager.
Mm-hmm.
You got to give it some time frame that pager, when that got picked up and it was found by the surviving members of Avengers, put in the Avengers compound, there was a time frame from that.
Mm-hmm.
So from that time frame, that you just got to take that time frame from the time that that pager went off to how long it took her to get to Earth, right? From where she's coming from. She lands, then based upon, from that time frame, they went looking for Tony. She went flying around, found Tony, and brought them back to Earth, right? Then they had that meeting, and they said, okay, well, don't forget, the time frame from the time that Thanos snapped the first time to the time he second snapped it to destroy the stones was 3 weeks. That was the time frame. It was 3 weeks. They go, and then they did whatever they did with Thanos, and then they came back and they did the 5-year jump. And in that 5-year jump, she already flew off and got her hair cut and was somewhere else in a different galaxy.
So she's like, I brought Tony back. I'm just going to get my hair cut. I'll be back. I'm going to go to the
Hey, it
salon.
was getting long. This was getting long.
But don't forget, from the time that they went and saw Thanos, after he destroyed the Infinity Stones, right? She was with them on that mission. They come back because they failed, and there was that big time jump, 5 years. So we don't know what happens in that 5 years when she left or decided, like, they all decided to go, okay, well, I'm going here. Don't forget, Rocket and Nebula were somewhere else also. They were in his ship, in Rocket's ship.
With Tony.
Right? Sorry?
With Tony? Right, with Tony.
Yeah, so there's that whole timeline and that time feature. I mean, I give the movie 10 out of 10. The way that they closed off. I mean, all the Easter eggs in it. See, the thing is, at the fan event, I went to the fan event and we're doing the 5 o'clock show. Every single Easter egg, every single line from the past to the present to all the lines that we're waiting for in the comic books. Everybody hooted, everybody laughed, everybody was clapping, everybody yelling and screaming especially when you hear Hail Hydra.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
We
good.
all clapped and hooted on that. When we see Cap actually say the words Avengers Assemble, everybody, that's it. A big chorus of cheers came up in our theater. You don't understand that was the fan event. Like, I don't know how it was with your theater and how your group was.
It was the same thing.
It was pretty close to that. It was pretty close.
We're talking about a loud chorus. Everybody, pretty much everybody was there. We all think. So we had that event. Like, you're right, Chad. It did not feel like 3 hours. That final battle scene was an hour long. It did not feel like an hour. I was sitting on my seat. I was like, okay, let's go. Everything to when Hulk, Hulk puts on the gauntlet first time and does a snap. It was holy shit. Like, it's like there was a lot of holy shit moments in that movie. for me.
Here's a question for you. How does Tony be able to take the Infinity Stones and then put them in the glove and not get zapped like Hulk did? I mean, I didn't quite get that.
Oh no, he did get that. He did get that. That's
He
how.
did.
That's why.
He died afterwards, of course. But
Didn't you see half his body was burnt and everything like
no,
that?
I get that. But when Hulk put it on, it was like this immediate like electricity reaction. Like he could barely snap his fingers, like that kind of stuff, right?
Here's the difference. Hulk put it on bare skin. Tony's the suit. So his suit took a lot. Don't forget, his suit can absorb a lot of energy. Like his suit is like it will take power and just use it.
Yeah, but there was this other thing that the original glove, was made in the forge.
Mhm.
And so how does he get a glove that can contain the stones and still be? I mean, it's one of those things that I look at.
Don't forget, it's in the comic books as well. Tony did make an Infinity Gauntlet in the comic books.
Oh, see, I need to know this stuff.
See, that's that. See,
We're not that hardcore. That's why, Derek.
See,
Yeah, we're not hardcore. Yeah.
You have and that's the thing. Think about it. I've been waiting for Adam Warlock to show up in the original comic books, in the Infinity the Infinity Gauntlet comic book. Yes, it was Nebula who put on the gauntlet, right? And she had a hard time controlling it. That's how Thanos lost. But Adam Warlock was also there. Adam Warlock was a key component of defeating Thanos, as well all the what did he call them, Chad? Galacticus, all those other guys. Not Titan.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
All the Sentinels, right? Is it?
Yeah. Guardian. Doom shows up too, right?
Like all the Immortals came to help defeat Thanos. So, I mean, you couldn't really I could understand why they couldn't put it in here, but yeah, there's like a lot of things. But like I said, it was them combining taking everything, like when they did the time travel and seeing the original Avengers, the Avengers movie, and when they first, they all got together and they got that full screenshot of them. That was awesome.
Captain America versus Captain America.
Captain America versus Captain America. That was awesome.
That was actually really good. I thought that was really good.
How'd you get that? Fuck, he's alive. What? Pack. Yeah, look, and he was like, shit. And then this Captain, see, and that's another thing. The original Captain America, when he first came out, wouldn't swear. Now this Captain America swears. See, like there's that. One of the best scenes I love seeing in the movie with all the females.
Yes.
You got Rescue, Valkyrie, Captain Marvel, Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch finally uses her powers to the full extent in a battle.
And she lost her accent.
Well, she's lost her accent way in. She lost her accent a long time ago. And so, but here's the thing: a lot of people don't give Scarlet Witch a lot of credit. She is one of the most powerful characters out there. If you were going by and saying the mutant side of things, she would have been a class 10, right? Think about it. She had the power to destroy an Infinity Stone, right? She destroyed the Mind Stone. Imagine how much power that takes to destroy an Infinity Stone, right? And then with her battle against Thanos, like in this movie, it was great seeing that she fully unleashed her powers on Thanos.
I was glad to see that. And I like her as a character a lot. In fact, I think she's worthy of having her own movie, or at least, is she part of the new guard? Is she part of the new guard?
She will be. She probably will be. Like, don't forget, we had some deaths in this movie. Vision's not coming back because he died before the snap.
Yeah, right.
Unfortunately, Natasha's not coming back because she had to give up her life for the Soul Stone. But technically speaking, she and Gamora live within the Soul Stone itself now, and there should be a wave.
Well, wait. Here's my other question: if Gamora came back, why didn't she then?
Because Gamora, don't forget, that's Gamora
from a different timeline.
2014, not the 2023 Gamora. Or sorry, the Gamora in Infinity War.
Right. Okay. So, man, temporal mechanics will just get you, won't they?
Derek, it's your turn. What do you think about the movie? Oh, sorry, Mark. What's your score again? 10 out of 10.
Okay. Hi guys, 10 out of 10 on that.
Okay, Derek.
Well, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
And the reason I'm giving it 8 out of 10 was the thing that disappointed me one of the most in the movie is that Captain Marvel was built up as this big thing in the movie, and really the only thing she did was destroy a ship and take a headbutt. And I'm happy that Tony finally did it. I'm happy that that happened. But for the love of God, she's supposed to be the most powerful one out there, and she barely does anything. Really annoyed me. Having said that, though, love the movie. It was I thought it was better than Infinity War. When I watched Infinity War, I felt like this is just a setup movie, as with all these other kind of movies, and it was a good standalone movie. But in the end, the good guys lost, and they lost bad. And you're kind of left with well, that wasn't very satisfying. But as you said, Mark, when Captain America went Avengers Assemble, I was like, oh yeah, that's the stuff.
Yeah. Like I said, because don't forget, it was teased at the end of Age of Ultron when it kind of goes Avengers, click, it's done. I'm like, what? And that's the thing.
I'll also say that the other thing that I enjoyed about the movie was, remember, I like the humor in it. I like a movie that has some humor and doesn't take itself too seriously. I was a little annoyed with the 5-year gap. I understood why the writers did it. I understand why that is. I really like the scene with the Hulk where, there's the two Hulks in the same area and he's smashing everything and the other guy's like, he just pushes over the bike or,
So what did you say? So we just
yeah, I mean when they travel back in time, you got Professor Hulk. Well, I gotta act like Hulk, but I'm not in. I no longer have that uncontrollable rage and just smash everything. It's like okay, which is funny. Which was a laugh because we were like, oh my god, really?
I was laughing. That was my favorite part. The diner scene.
What did you think
Perfect.
of Hawkeye as Ronin?
Oh, that was sweet. That was sweet. That was sweet. So again, these guys don't know because that's the thing. And I think this is where the difference is. I followed the comic books. I collected the comic books for so long, and I followed the Avengers and everything for so long that there's certain things that I know, like we walk in and we know about. That's why I was always disappointed with the X-Men movies. Right, and even X-Men First Class, because I was disappointed on how they did the origin stories, because that wasn't what I grew up knowing. But this one, even though they've changed it a lot, but it gives me an understanding now. Okay, great. They wanted these Avengers, they needed these guys, and they needed to do their stories, and they had how many films to do it. And like I said, with all of them showing up, every single character in the MCU thus far came back. Even the kid from Iron Man 3 was there.
I was gonna see. For me, I couldn't keep track of it all, but I was very impressed that all of these people assembled to fight him and so forth, and it was this epic battle. I love epic battles. It's kind of hard to give screen time to everybody, but as you said, there were some real good gems in there. I like the sorcery people were in there because you could see them from afar in the camera angle where they had their little hand stuff going, and you're like,
but did you notice all the Asgardians?
Yeah, that too. Yes. And there's the other army. I'm missing it. From Africa. I'm missing
Wakanda.
It. Yeah. So they had like multiple armies there fighting them. That was great.
See, and this is what you said. This is where what you made, like what you said. There were so many of them there, and you can't get them all the screen time. Again, the main focus on these movies was Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man. Right? Therefore, Captain Marvel's role, yeah, she came in, she gave that that time that they needed to get set up for, to get into position or whatever, or try to get the gauntlet away from Thanos and have somebody fight him while they did everything else. So yeah, in a sense, they didn't give her all the screen time, but again, this movie she wasn't the main person in this because she's just helping out the Avengers, right?
Here's a question though. I know that Robert Downey Jr. didn't want to do this anymore. He really wanted out of his contract. He wanted to be done. I didn't think I thought Scarlett Johansson was ready to have her own movie though. I'm a little
they are making one. They are still making one for her.
But is it her? Is it her?
Yeah, it is her. It's her. It's either going to be a prequel or an actual origin story about her, or it's going to be in between maybe those 5 years that she was in. There's rumors that it could be in between the 5-year gap between.
I prefer to see an origin story.
same
I
here.
think myself. You know.
I think it's an origin when she grows up in Russia.
Yeah, but
Well,
here's
they
the
make
thing.
so much about that, right?
But they already gave up so much. It's like, here's the thing. There's only been one Hulk movie. They said they're not going to make another Hulk movie, but they kind of gave Mark Ruffalo his trilogy, right? If you've actually read all those things, is Thor Ragnarok was his third movie, because it was basically he's one of the main people in there.
I loved him in that movie. Seriously,
Yes,
I
that
loved
was
the Hulk in
awesome.
that movie.
But again, that's what they're saying. Thor Ragnarok was his third and final movie per se, in his story arc. With Natasha Romanoff and Scarlet Witch, they got it, and they also started talking about, even on the flashbacks with in Age of Ultron, they gave somewhat of her origin story already, right? So it was. I don't think they might give a full origin story like that. They might do something when she's older, right? Because everybody,
when she joined Shield or something around that time, that would
like
be
that.
interesting. You know, I mean,
well,
I don't.
she joined Shield because of Bart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause they're good,
Bart,
they're good
said,
friends.
Bart
yeah.
was actually sent to kill her. Right? Hawkeye was sent to kill her, according to what this canon and thing was supposed to go out to send. But Bart saw something in her, changed her ways, and she came over and started working for Shield. So that's why they're very close. That's why those two are like literally brothers and sisters, right? They have that connection.
We are so geeking out on this stuff, like hardcore.
hell
Like,
yeah.
people who are not interested in Avengers are probably like, these guys are just going on about it. I'm
Keep
stop
yapping,
watching the
yapping,
stream.
yapping, yeah.
But you know what? I could talk about this movie. Like, you could tell me a part of the movie, and I'll give you my honest opinion on it. Like,
I believe you're going to see more of Captain Marvel and Adam Warlock in Guardians 3.
But you see, Captain Marvel, I'm not really interested in seeing more Captain Marvel, because, you know, they set up her own movie, great, fine. It was her origin story, great, fine. In this movie, she had nothing.
Like I said,
It was a disappointment, you know?
I mean, what were you really expecting? And again, you said it. There were so many characters. The main people that they had to focus on were the main Avengers.
I wanted her to have more, I guess, an involved part of, because she was in it for like 3 scenes, the entire movie. I mean, and admittedly, you know, this is Tony Stark's send-off. This is all this stuff. You know, I get that. But at least have an epic fight with Thanos. I mean, she got headbutt and thrown. That was it. She didn't even come back. Where'd she go? She get knocked out.
Like,
No, she
jet
didn't.
lag,
She
that's
was-
why.
No, they were all fighting. Like, literally, when she came in was near at the end where, guess what? Tony got the gems off of Thanos. Right? Got the stones off of Thanos, and boom, put them in, and it was done. She came in to save them. She came in to save them from that aerial bombardment. That's why she destroyed the ship. And guess what? And that's where Thanos was like, oh my God, really? Who the hell is this? How can this one person destroy my ship? And everybody was like that as well. Right? She comes down, gets her punches in, whatever. And that's it. Now, Captain Marvel's not going to have. Captain Marvel may not have a trilogy. Black Panther, I have not heard if they're doing Black Panther 2 or not.
Yeah, they are.
Are they? What about Doctor
With,
Strange?
Doctor Strange 2.
That's the one I want to see more of.
Yeah.
I love.
And then don't forget, this is all part of the fourth phase now, right? Phase
They're
4
also
of-
doing the Eternals.
Okay, let's be clear that Leonard and I have no idea what Phase 4 means.
Yeah. To be honest,
You guys-
okay,
so-
you need to explain
we don't
this.
The
Talking
different
about-
phases. Okay, so the MCU timeline, they had different phases. So phase 1 ended after the first Avengers. Phase 2 happened after, I believe, the end of phase 2
Age of
was
Ultron.
Age of Ultron, or around there. And then this is the end of phase 3 is here. So
Is
these
it going to take us 22 movies again to the end of Phase 4?
It could be.
no, don't forget
It's
it's 20,
another 10 years.
yeah.
Oh,
Phase
God.
4, phase 4 is going to be all the other MCU characters. Black Widow
We're
having her
getting
own
new
movie.
characters. We're getting new characters and new stories.
Can you see all the people on that screen? They don't need to introduce new characters.
Well, wait until you see the Eternals.
Yeah, wait till you see.
They're doing the Eternals.
And don't forget, Disney Disney owns the rights now to the X-Men. And
So are they
Deadpool.
gonna restart the X-Men series again?
No, they're
I
gonna
don't know.
fight the two together. They're gonna
There's
fight.
another spoiler because in 10 years it'll be Avengers versus X-Men.
Okay. So Derek, we should move along here. Derek, so what's your
What about
score? Derek, what's your score?
I said 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Okay, I'm gonna
What was
tally
yours?
this up. Okay. I'm not as hardcore as you guys. I watched the movies because I really liked watching those movies. Highlights. I'm just gonna talk about the highlights. This whole thing is the Fat Thor. Awesome. I can relate. I used to have 6-pack. Now it's just like a kegger now, so it's all good. Bubba, more than a kegger, but a Bubba. To be honest with you, I was very disappointed that Captain Marvel's character wasn't there more. But I do understand what Mark said. No issues there, but I was hoping that she'll be there more. Script writing is fantastic. Visual effects is fantastic. The storytelling is great. The 5 years gap gave a lot of pause and timing. It gives it the effect of like time has passed by. So I really like that. Like the one thing that actually like I was very curious about because I stayed. All of us stayed all the way to the end. At the end of the last credit, you actually hear a hammer hitting an anvil 3 times or twice or 3 times or something like that.
Yeah, that's just a call. That's a callback to Tony's making his first Iron Man
Yes.
suit.
So I was gonna ask you guys, was that a hint? What's happening in the next
No,
Marvel movies, or is just a I think
it's just a tribute.
it's just a tribute of the hammer thing.
just a-
Okay. Because
we gotta
when I
wait.
heard it, I was like, oh, wait a minute. No
Yeah,
one really
we gotta-
talks about this and like any of the stuff
We actually have to wait. We have to actually wait for the new Spider-Man movie to come out, Far From Home.
Mm-hmm. Then we'll probably get something from there.
There we go. Because again, that movie is literally the last movie of the Phase 3. That's
So
what.
why do you think they didn't have it before? Like these movies, is there a reason it's after? Do you think, or just timing wise? Do you think?
Because the movie itself takes place after Endgame.
Oh, okay. All right.
So are they
Right,
gonna
so-
follow the same arc as in
That's why-
like timeline
No,
wise?
that's why when Sony was doing all the promotions already for it, it kind of spoiled a lot of it kind of spoiled some of the ending of Endgame, the story of because Nick Fury's back, Happy Hogan's there, Spider-Man, and this is all, and everybody knew that this movie was supposed to happen after Endgame. So there was this little thing that people were, everybody was saying that it was already spoiled.
Okay. Well, that's my 2 cents. I'm actually gonna give the movie 9 out of 10 because that's based on my experience with this with the Marvel universe. So, tallying the scores up, I'll get an average here. So, Chad, you said 7.5.
7.5, 8, 9,
Mark,
and 10.
8, 9, and oops. 7.5 plus 8.
I'm
plus
hoping
9
that
plus
hammer sound
10.
is actually Beta Ray Bill.
No, it's not. Definitely it's not, because they did bring him. They already did show him in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah,
That's
it
where
was
his
very
tribute.
brief.
Yeah, that was his tribute. Well, and again, there's so many Marvel characters, they can't bring everybody in. And like again, this is you. Everybody was expecting Captain Marvel, but it's an Avengers movie. She's not an Avenger. Right?
Were you expecting Doom to show up at the end?
Who?
Doom.
Doctor Doom?
Yeah.
No.
Because he is going to be the main focus in the next phase.
That's where we might find something at the end of Far From Home.
Leonard,
Okay.
do we have anybody left on the stream at all?
No one wants to talk to us at all. They just want to hear our voice, our beautiful voices here. So our tally is 8.6 out of 10. That's the average.
You guys suck.
So that's our averaging.
You guys
So
suck.
so the world voted 8.65. We are the world here. So
Yeah.
I sampled
But
them.
I can't
It
wait.
also,
I'm actually gonna probably go watch it again in IMAX now.
Oh, we watched it IMAX 3D. Did you watch it just regular?
I had to watch it on regular because I went to the fan event, and that's all they offered.
Oh, really?
Like I said, I watched it at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, the IMAX 3D
I
was
was
really
there.
nice. Yeah.
I was there at 5 o'clock. I got my ticket the day that they started selling tickets. I spent half an hour trying to, like, even with the websites crashing, I spent that long. Had my computer going. I was trying to do it on my phone at the same time. Whatever went first, that's how I got my ticket.
Yeah, that's how we got our tickets too.
Right. So
did they break box office sales?
Yeah, the first weekend.
First weekend was over $1 billion worldwide.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Wait, was it released? Was it released worldwide already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1.2. I think it was 1.2 billion. Weekend.
Yeah, Disney's very happy right now.
So they just made a ridiculous amount of money.
I'll tell you, pre-sales alone hit 60 million for pre-sales.
Jesus.
60
Some
million.
people are like, damn it.
I know, right?
So, but like I said, I love the movie. I love everything. Scott Lang. How he came back.
Oh, yeah.
Scott Lang, Ant-Man, when he comes back, and it's like, what the hell is going on? I was only in there for 5 seconds. What? But I like, you know what? And here's the thing. I like the send-off. I like the fact that, this is the send-off for Robert Downey Jr. He actually, his contract was only for 7, and I think he was in 10 movies.
Seemed like a pretty good sport about things. He did some cameos, I mean.
But you know what? And that's what I'm saying. He played this thing. He played this character for 7 movies, right? Sorry, no, wait. So 3 Iron Man movies, all 4 Avenger movies. That's already 7. He was in Spider-Man. That was 8. What other cameos?
Some cameos he did for Hulk, and
the Hulk. Yeah, he did a cameo in Hulk. So he did it. I love the send off for Chris Evans, Captain America. That was great. That he actually finally lived this life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he went back and stayed with Peggy Carter.
There was a comment made about that I'm bad with names. The girl that he was not really romantically involved with in Civil War.
Sharon Carter.
Yeah. It's so he's technically, if they got married, his niece now. Is that
daughter? The daughter?
No, niece.
Niece. Yeah.
Now Sharon Carter is the niece of Peggy Carter. Now here's the thing: when Cap went back and changed the past, that is a completely different alternate timeline now.
Yes,
right? Because whatever you do in the way that they explained it, whatever you do in the past does not change the past or changes the past to change your future. It just creates a different alternate timeline. That's what the Ancient was very specific with with Bruce Banner, Professor Hulk, and say you have to return. Like you take this stone right now, a new path is going to branch off, and I will not survive this. The fact that when Bruce Banner says, well, Stephen Strange gave up the stone, and the Ancient One was like, oh, he was supposed to be the most smartest, the most powerful, the best of us. Here's the stone, but and then he goes, okay, I will return it. That's why they returned all the stones. Even Captain America returned Mjolnir, right? Mm-hmm. That was one of the most epic scenes in the movie as well. When he got the hammer.
Yes.
So
I was a little surprised. I assume that was in the comics. It surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, it's been in the comics. That's why you have to remember Age of Ultron. He nudged it when he was trying to pick up, and that's why Thor looked at him and was like, "Oh, okay." Because don't forget, you wield Mjolnir, you rule Asgard. Yeah. That's the whole thing. You become, So, I like the fact that Thor gave up his throne and gave it to Valkyrie. Awesome. I love seeing Pepper Potts in Rescue. I was waiting for that. It got hinted when Tony says when Morgan had the mask and it says, hey,
I knew that back then too. Yeah,
I already knew that was coming up.
And the young Stan Lee was awesome.
Young Stan Lee, they had to CGI him, but that's his last cameo. There's no more cameos. I like the fact that Jarvis was there.
Yes, that was nice.
So like I said, there's a lot of things that I saw in the movies that's why I give it a 10 out of 10 because it's 3 hours long. They had so many things to do, but they incorporated so many of the things that we all grew up like I said, when Cap said "Hail Hydra,"
That was awesome.
was,
That was really good. Yeah.
it was epic because of the big shock in the comic books last year, a year and a half ago, when Captain America was a Hydra agent. He's been always a Hydra agent, right? So there was that, and then you know, all the
It's
lines.
like he's always been a Hydra agent.
Yes, there was a timeline that he was.
They
There was
made
comics-
that.
Sometimes I just don't even want to know about the comic books. It kind of annoys me.
See,
It's like
this is the thing about comic books, right? And the different realities and the different, how many different Earths are there? Like Earth 1, Earth 2 in the DC universe. In the Marvel universe, time travel has always been there, right? And people in the different universes and everybody picking up, all this other stuff. So it's awesome that that's why I love about comics, because it's not a standard story. It's not straightforward. It can branch off so many times. How many times did Pepper Potts die? How many times did Iron Man die? Like Tony Stark died. How many times all these guys died? But they're brought
Or
back.
even Civil War, when it branched off to everyone's own personal story.
that's
Yeah.
true. We could talk about this for hours, boys, but I think we're a little over here, and I wanted
No, I
to
agree. I
let Leonard
I
take it
still
over.
want to stop the conversation, but yeah. So, well,
Oh, this is one of those things where you could just sit down with
Oh, I
me
know,
and
I
we'll just talk, so.
I know. But either way, we're gonna continue this conversation when Phase 4 comes out. So.
Well, no, we'll probably here. We got another thing. So it's May. So June 7th, Phoenix comes out. Dark Phoenix comes out. X-Men. And then followed by Spider-Man, Far From Home.
And then Black Widow.
Black Widow is supposed to be this year or next year?
Next
No,
year.
Black Widow's next year. I'm talking about this year. I know definitely December 19th, I'll be in the movie theaters.
What's well, yeah, of course.
December 19th, I'm in a movie theater. Nobody, if anyone asks, where's Mark? Oh, he's in the movie theater. December 19th.
December 19th. Okay.
Yeah, because December 20th, The Rise of Skywalker gets released.
Yes, that's yeah. Okay.
December 19th. So nobody bother me
With
there.
With Palpatine.
Palpatine's back. Oh,
I know. I saw that. That'll be awesome.
he is back, and I'm like,
All right, this is a conversation.
I know. Thank you.
Gentlemen,
I'm just thinking about the movie now
let's
too. Okay, guys, that's all we have for today's show. So yeah, I'm just gonna cut it right there. Just go
see, I
straight
told you we
into
should
the.
just talk about
Really?
Avengers all day.
I know, right? I know. So if you
That
guys,
didn't even feel like an hour.
I know, right? So that's it for today's show. I just want to let you guys know that the J shows that Chad and I do is actually got pushed to every Thursdays now. I mean, just to give a little bit of a rest between shows, because Chad and I are pretty tired after the show. But if we do as well, yeah. As you guys know, we do record this podcast live on YouTube and at Twitch. I do apologize to YouTube fans. YouTube people are watching. There were some issues buffering in YouTube side. That's why they're not getting a proper feed from us. But catch us next week on Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern. You'll get a brand new show from us. Also, if you press the subscribe button, you'll get notification when we go live and upload new content. You can also download this episode and any other episodes on your favorite podcasting application. Just search for the Radio 9 Podcasting Network. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next week at the Coffee Mug Show here at the Radio 9 Podcasting Network. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Night.
All right.